know it's really loud. Start that over. I guess I'm live. I was just testing because it looked like all my settings were reset. All of my settings got wiped clean. Sorry, give me like 10 more minutes. I'm early, but give me 10 minutes. I just got to figure this a thing out. Why isn't that? Oh, no. Can that go back to where it was? Oh, that's even better. All right, give me a moment. I haven't even made my title or anything like that. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm still working. I'm not live on Twitch yet. Give me one moment. Still working, trying to get things set up. I will be ready at or very close to 11. way. Hiya! I know that the camera is not on. We're not even technically officially live. I mean, it is 11, but you know. I don't want you to have to watch me cramming this nut bar down my throat. Sounded a little suggestive. Maybe I meant that. Maybe that's exactly what I wanted. I just brushed my teeth, so this nut bar is like extra minty now, which isn't good for like savory stuff. But if you have a sweet tooth, and if you like mint chocolate chip or things like that, it ain't bad. It's a weird thing to say that you like a bunch of almonds and chocolate right after you brush your teeth, but you know what? I'm an adult. I do what I want. And I will not be denied my ablutions. I guess it doesn't super matter if I'm eating while I'm waiting to start here. So, as you might notice, today does not have a dual camera setup, which I shouldn't talk with a mouthful. This is why I had the screensaver on, because I know I was gonna be tempted to do it. Give me a sec while I hide my shame like a Japanese girl. Cause I gotta really chaw this thing down, you know, these almonds, so almonds take some jaw power, okay? They're good though. If you like the if you like a balanced beginning to your day, or at least if you forgot to eat and this is the first thing you're eating all day, so it's kind of like your breakfast, then you can do worse than the nut bars. Next time you go to Costco, just get a box of them. Cheap. They keep you going. Nuts in the beginning of the day are like brain food. You might not have even been able to understand that because I was talking with my mouth full. One moment. Yeah. See, now I got that nut bar energy. Camera's a little fuzzy. I don't dust this part of my desk as often as I should. I mean, clearly you're supposed to, because it's like, you know, how else are people going to be able to see if your camera's all fuzzed up? The answer is they won't. They won't be able to. Won't be able to see you. They won't care what you have to say. Well, who cares what I have to say anyway, but topic for another time. So, while I get the remnants of the nut bar I ate for breakfast settled. All right, normally I have time to eat before I do this, but desperate times call for desperate measures. I'm gonna go see Superman tomorrow. I used to go see every new movie release, whether it was Marvel or DC, but man, after the whole like last 10 years of just releasing thing after thing after thing after thing after thing, quality's gone down a little bit, or at least the what do I want to say, like the quality, or the writing, or the something is lacking in the Marvel stuff lately. Whatever. Point is, I'm gonna go see Superman tomorrow. I think it's gonna be pretty fun. Why is my camera all weird? I feel like it's... What happened? What happened to you? Who hurt you? Was it your mother? Is she hitting you? You can tell me. So, I do think this thing is drifting down. I am a bit suspicious of it. I don't think this shirt is meant to be like fully buttoned up and everything. I think you're supposed to, because it's a short sleeve, I think you're supposed to wear it like you would wear it in the summer. I think maybe that's because I'm feeling uncomfortable, and it's only this one shirt. I don't know. We'll see. We'll undo the dressy buttons, and we'll see if it gets more comfortable. What else makes me hot under the collar is the climate in here. The climate is just parching. Am I right or am I right? So, hello, first of all. My name is Goose. My name isn't really Goose, but that's the name that I've chosen to call myself on the internet. That's my dog Pepe. He passed recently, and so we remember him with a nice little wall hanging. I would recommend getting custom pup portraits if your dog is a member of the family, because then, you know, you're gonna have something to put up on the wall when they pass and remember them for a while. R.I.P. Peppy. The only reason I mentioned that is just because I saw him in my monitor there. So today is Theme Thursdays, and it's been a bit of an unsteady theme, if you will. The umbrella theme is Theme Thursdays, and then we get into the sub-umbrella themes, the umbrellas within the umbrellas, once Theme Thursday gets a little closer. But it was kind of like a stalling tactic on my part, because I didn't have like a concrete idea of what I wanted it to be. Hey, Jazz Maniac, how's it going? Apparently, I'm guessing you like jazz. That might be safe to say. Dude, I lost my train of thought then. So I couldn't land on a specific theme that I wanted for Thursdays. So instead, what I did was I just kind of... She's just dashing in like a maniac. Oh, like the second half of your username there. I wanted it to be something like Tattoo Thursdays or Theocracy Thursdays, but I didn't want to have two blocks of like podcast style content, because it feels to me like it's a little repetitive, and I'm a variety gamer. If you've seen me on Work Wednesdays, I'm usually playing a different game Oh, well, good. Welcome. Glad that you made it here. I hope that you stick around. Join the Discord if you want. There is a community, or should be a community, or will be a community. All three of those things can be true, and they will be true. But so, I want to talk Tuesdays to be the days that we talk. You know, the days that I open up the Discord for calls, but I have calls open like all day long. So it also feels sort of repetitive. So I think what I'm doing is I'm still finding my groove. I think that's just a long blurb for me to say that we're finding the pattern that works the best for us. And I think what's going to end up happening is if I can get the engagement that I'm looking for, then we can probably have an extra day and then make like some saucy themes for like the beginning of the week, and then mellow down throughout the end of the week and just kind of stick to video games, and then not have calls open all week. It's really, I'm going to put up some polls once the community gets big enough, you know. I'm going to put up some polls, and I'll let you guys shape the channel really the way that seems most fun and entertaining. And because I'm open, really. I already do the content that I like, video games and like the politics stuff, reactions, whatever not. But yeah, so it's really just chalk it all up to me being unsure of both wanting to get the engagement, because this title was the one that got me the most engagement in any of my YouTube live streams. So if that's a wave, I figure I want to ride it. But also, mostly it's I would like to have things a little more organized, but a little less strict, or a little more streamlined, I guess I could say. So, as I was saying, today is Theme Thursday. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Jazzmaniac. Thank you for sticking around. If you like the idea of comporting some kind of social issue with theology, I keep saying theocracy, theology, then I think that then this is a good day for the MAGA being a cult thing. But also, I think what I might start doing is, you can't see my cursor on here. What I might start doing is having like a doc up where I could have like debate topics, just so that people don't feel like corralled into one specific thing. But I tend to talk mostly about social issues, but I also welcome like nerdy stuff. But as far as today goes, the theme is the same, or the title is the same as it was a couple weeks ago, and I am inviting the opportunity to change my mind about this opinion that I have. And I'll lay out a few things first of all before we ever get started, because I don't know if I'll get any calls today, but I might. So I just want to lay it out, be real honest. Sorry, I was looking at my Discord screen. I just want to make sure that it is active and ready to go. Put it here in the corner. Not that you can see it or anything, but I'm narrating my actions. Helps me stay organized. All right. Getting my screens all set up here. Sorry, I can't walk, talk, and chew bubblegum at the same time sometimes, especially with technological stuff. Bear with me. All right, nope, I didn't want that. You son of a. All right. Good. Shrink. Oh, apparently it doesn't shrink. Okay. It's all good. So today is all about changing my mind. I had to get back on my train of thought. Now that I'm back on my train of thought, choo-choo, we're leaving this station. So MAGA equals cult. Hello, hi. I can hear myself. MAGA equals cult is a very, like, I guess, easy thing for people to say. And You know, I suppose that I don't want to say that it can mean only one thing, but I feel like the last time, well, the first and last time I talked to somebody, it devolved into something else. And while I'm willing to do that, I would much rather like not. I want to stick to someone trying to give me enough of a passionate argument or is something that might convince me that the people who are the red hat wearers are not in a cult. Really, that's all it is. I think that it's important to mention that that's an opinion that I have. And while the change my mind idea of debate is sort of meant to pull someone in and shift the burden of proof to them, that is kind of the case. If you're expressing an opinion, you can substantiate it, and the person can ask you to substantiate it if they want to, and that's why. So I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to offer reasons why I believe the thing that I do. And it's real, and I can tell you right now, it will involve looking at the traditional criteria for what it means to be in a cult. So look that up if you'd like before you debate. It could help inform your arguments, but that's where I will be coming from, and I'm willing to show that hand to you. I'm willing to say these are the sources that I will use, and I mean, I'm really just going to Google signs you're in a cult. That is probably the best way to get directly to that information, because they all say the same thing. It's a very, very specific set of criteria for being in a cult. And so it's not a gotcha. It's not a make you look stupid kind of thing. It's perhaps if you can offer me a good enough excuse or a reason or argument or whatever, not an excuse. If you can offer me a good enough reason, what is that? There's a saying that I always say. It's like, that's a good reason, but not an excuse, or that's a reason, but not an excuse. Whatever. It's like a coming of age thing that you learn. Oh, that's what it is. When someone says like, oh, you know, I'm really tired. Like if they couldn't complete a project, they say, oh, I'm really tired. And I say, well, that is a reason, but I don't accept that as an excuse. It's a little bit of a cocky thing to say if you have like a position of leadership. It's not like malicious. It wasn't at the time, but it can sound pretty like pretentious or like I don't like I'm using too many words to say something really simple. Anyway, so the point is, I'm trying to say that I'm going to be as transparent with this as if you call in, however transparent you plan to be. Wow, it took me a while to say one thing, but yeah, calls are open. Discord link should be somewhere. Discord link. Let me just make sure that I have it in El Chato. Oh, that's why I have this up. See, I get distracted easy, you know. I have that ADHD. ADMHDHISFNGH. IJK. LMNOP. Alright, here is the Discord. And I do have a timer on Twitch now, so. Alright, here's the get sent. There we go. And then I'm gonna pin that. Bam! Pin message. Perfect. All right. So now it's in the YouTube chat. It's in the Twitch chat. We're all buttoned up, dialed in, buttoned down, bloused. Our loins are girded. Our skirts are gathered, etc. Anyway, while we're waiting for anyone to express a snark or join the waiting room, we will be reacting. So I put in the hashtags. Look at me, I'm using a fancy word like hashtag. That's right, I know the internet. I am Mr. Internet. Welcome to me. What? we typed in the hashtags Trump, MAGA, and God. If anything, just because I think those are going to be some good content search in terms. But we shall see how that pans out. So I can never remember how to get this just to go like down the line. I think it's if I just click on a shorts. If I click on one shorts. Hello.
Day in American history. Agree or don't agree?
What day?
This is the day of a dawn of the golden age, a new era.
What day?
These next 4 years.
Which day? Was this election day?
Loving and caring.
What does that say? I can't see.
And oh my God, I'm gonna be the best 4 years that we have seen in a long time. Listen to the people to the left, please. You ain't welcome over here. You can watch. You can see and hear the celebration.
How long is this?
But
damn, 3 fucking minutes?
God was on this man. His hand was on this man.
Oh,
and
weird. It
his
doesn't.
hand was on this man,
I've been streaming
is on YouTube.
28 minutes. I'm within an hour.
Listen,
and I said a cuss.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. Let me
said a
just
cuss.
put this prayer in perspective.
So I'm not hearing a reason why it's a good day.
Trump. Again, Father God, for allowing this man to take this podium.
What?
For the people that celebrate this inauguration. And not only celebrating this inauguration, but
why are we putting this next to some like inspirational music? I think Wake Up America might be a good tag to use. I want to duplicate. That's a good tag.
Woo! Woo! Man, let me just turn on one time.
I can do that too. Okay, shorts. Here we
we've got
go.
a mental health crisis in this country because everyone, no matter how you affiliate yourself, should be against Trump. Period. We've got a mental health crisis in this country.
Okay, well that's
because
just
everyone, no
the
matter
truth.
how
Americans are getting lazy. Too many
For Christ's
holidays.
sake.
Too much
Baby
Netflix.
AI Donald
You know
Trump.
what? We basically have two countries that you hear these people say, well, who's going to pick the strawberries? Hey, guess what? We ain't to the strawberries yet. We say, if you come in here wrong, and then I see these people been here 20 years, never decide to fill out.
Yeah.
At what point after 20 years of being in this country, you didn't say, damn, Jose, we should fill out.
I think that people who enter this space to talk about the immigration issue don't know the basics of immigration very often. It's almost impossible to get through the courts right now in the legal way. Period. Also, we don't have an immigration problem. Not necessarily. Like, I would say, if you think that 1 ounce of cocaine trafficked across the border is a crisis, then sure. Of course. But, I don't know. I think that the people who've been here for 20 years could have spent the first 10 years, under some kind of protection, under some kind of civil leniency. Maybe it could have just been that immigration agencies were looking the other way because they weren't doing anything wrong. The point is of this, not of this, the point of that I'm trying to make is that it was, it wasn't an issue until it needed to be an issue for an election, for a law, for whatever, since the 70s. Like, I think Nixon, no, it was Reagan. It was the Reagan era that the border started to become like a real issue. And it was the same thing back then. People didn't look at overstayed visas. They didn't look at, and now, like, because it's such a well-known thing, like places like Fox News and OAN, they're saying like, oh yeah, the majority of people who are here illegally are visa overstayers, but they're also violent criminals. And what they don't tell you is that they're violent criminals, So, it's been folded into a layer of the zeitgeist, but it's been a thing since the 70s. Like, There's not an immigration crisis. We have cities whose metro areas are abandoned, whose skyscrapers could be filled by, I don't know, how many employees just got fired from Intel? Over 1,000, like 800 some odd employees, plus whatever administration staff. So like 1,000 people just got laid off, and that's on top of layoffs they had last year. So those big buildings, those big campuses could just be converted. If they're already able to be ADA compliant for the workings of a business, then they're able to be converted very easily to living quarters. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's xenophobia. I think it's racism, and I think that it's American exceptionalism that keeps us from wanting to welcome people from south of the border into our country. And for those who are wondering, yes, I would absolutely let one stay in my house. Go fuck yourself. That being said, let's move on.
Trump wants to take away some birthright citizenship. Do you agree with him on that?
Yeah, I really do.
Trump wants to take away...
I mean, there's nothing to refute here. That is a thing that he has said. If you agree with it, I mean, that's something that we could probably debate about, which is why we're here today. If you don't think you're in a cult, I may have news for you. You may want to know. Of course, it would be me trying to put you in a cult if I was to say, I'm the only person with the answer. Now, who says stuff like that? I will be your savior. I will be your protector. You vote for me and you'll never have to vote again.
Mr. President, can you tell us, sir, Donald Trump refers...
Yeah, okay, so Wake Up America might be an outdated
Trump
tag.
is not MAGA anymore. MAGA belongs to the people of God.
Ooh, which raid? I assume this is in your guys's the modded thing, which means it's probably a vanilla raid, which means I've probably played it until I hate it. So, oh yeah, no, well, ZG I didn't do a lot. I think I quit before Burning Crusade. Did that come from Burning Crusade? I'll have that's in my memory bank somewhere. But Ani was good, I guess. 20th anniversary kind of reminded me how disorganized it can be. ZG Zul'Gurub. So then it was Zulaman that was Burning Crusade? Then I had to have done ZG. So ZG is in Stranglethorn then, right? Or the entrance is in Stranglethorn. And then Zulaman is in Southern Silvermoon, I think, somewhere. Yeah, so I played ZG. ZG is the one where you have to kill the aspects, like the Lynx and the Dragonhawk. No, that's Zulaman. Whatever, you know? If it's a WoW raid, and it's yeah, Hakar, that fight, oh my god, my blood just started boiling, get it? Blood boil? It just started, like, but for real, I just got really frustrated. Oh man, I have spent so many hours trying to kill Hakar with people that just couldn't understand the mechanics. I think it was the prison thing where they get like chained to something, and I forget what the mechanic is, but people have to like get away from them, or yeah, I can't remember what the mechanic was. Well, shit, man, that's a game that has been around for 30 years, so I think that there's a lot of people who've had it like dialed in for enough time that they can actually like communicate it, like how to do it to other people. Yeah, that sounds like an overgearing circumstance right there.
And we do not kneel to men. We kneel to Christ. Joshua chapter 24, verse 15, but as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Let the world choose who they follow. Let the fake Christians chase false saviors. But we We stand for truth.
Well, okay, so I guess this is a bit of infighting here. So the Venn diagram is not a full circle. It's just it is a very good overlap between Christians and MAGA. So it would make sense that there would be a little bit of infighting. But on the way that the side that this guy is on, there's more than enough people on the other side who say like, no, you're a fake Christian and God Trump is the Messiah, some shit, you know, like.
And
then there's an equal amount of people who say like, no, he's actually the Antichrist.
Jesus for a politician. Trump is not MAGA anymore. MAGA belongs.
Well, if you say that you can only follow Jesus and then Jesus isn't on the ballot, then who do you vote for? Probably the guy who says that I'm Jesus' representative. Just saying. This again, that's not a gotcha. This is some infighting. I'm happy to let it happen.
Pam Bondi.
Oh boy. Okay, so this guy, he's not talking. This is the thing that I refer to a lot when I talk about the not AI slop. He probably posted this with AI, but I'm guessing he made this like on his phone. I don't know how these people do it. But it's really annoying because it's just someone staring at me, at the screen. And it makes me, so it's making me feel uncomfortable. This guy's looking at me going like, or wait, sorry, he's doing this. Hang on, I think I have hang on. He's doing this. But then it's like an AI generated text thing. I look real smooth wearing these sunglasses on the stream. Maybe I should just keep it like this, but I really can't see anything because they're polarized. So that's not an option. It's fun while it lasted. So yeah, I hate that non-reaction.
Attorney General
stuff.
Pam Bondi says there's a reason why the Democrats don't want us to see what's really happening at the Treasury.
To see these states bringing suits about the information that is in that Treasury database, and they're saying that it's on concerns of hacking if that database gets shared or looked into. And when we look at the amount of fraud in the budget, sometimes 200, 300 billion.
This must be outdated because that is not actually accurate at all. They found I think a total of $80 something million in not fraud, but that was the wasteful government spending that Doge found. And they didn't find any fraud. They found, I think, perhaps 200 cases of fraud. So womp womp. Little bad. Maybe they'll correct themselves.
In fraudulent payments that go out. Do you see a potential for other states to decide that they want to sue the Treasury for not spending their tax dollars responsibly? I mean, could you see a flip of this suit?
Yeah, well, the president's going to prevail, sure, but the president, of course, is going to prevail.
82 billion sounds wrong. I think it was only in the millions. Oh, 2 billion. It was only 2 billion. That's still way less than the projections were. They initially touted $55 billion in savings. Whoops.
He's looking out for our tax dollars. And it's absurd that that's their best argument. Oh, we're worried about hackers. There's a reason they don't want.
It's more infighting. You know? You guys gotta stop infighting. Although we do the same thing. We, meaning anyone on the left. They all hate it. They all hate each other. Everyone hates each other. I mean, this is AI slop, but there are some people who genuinely believe this.
Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin.
Oh God. I think he might, I feel like he might have to, no problem, Jazz. Exactly the reason why we're here today. We're going to clear up any misconceptions that people have. If you're MAGA, you're in a cult. I'm willing to try and convince you of that, but I'm mostly hoping to hear you change my mind. And if you can do that, you get 1,000 internet points. They're not worth anything, but you can say I got 1,000 internet points from that guy I proved that MAGA wasn't a cult to. That's got to mean something. You know, you derive your own meaning from things, right? So, you know, take it or leave it. But the point is, Discord links are in the, I believe, the Twitch and YouTube chat. Please feel free to join the Discord. You will enter the waiting room, and if I see someone enter the waiting room, then you will go up into the box where we will start talking. You can see it's all right here, ready for you. Wajambo. I just make up words sometimes. Wajambo. Shablam. Shaklackle-dee. It's part of my little, you know, my little thing. It's part of my
His bullet
stuff.
ripped through my ear.
No, it didn't. They determined that was a lie.
But
well, it's like would-be, you know, a would-be assassin, you know? And so, okay. Oh, okay, we about to go off on something right here. So, I have my own conspiracy regarding this. I mean, who's getting upset? One of them was getting upset. I have my own conspiracy regarding this, and I will never be able to prove it. It is completely unsubstantiatable. Unsubstantiable? It does not hold any water, but it is just something that I was musing about one day, and it just makes a lot of sense to me. And while I don't truly believe it's what happened, it wouldn't surprise me if it was later determined that this happened. First of all, let's establish that another one of my lesser conspiracy theories is that this election was stolen, but I don't know. It's shady that the richest man in the world was so heavily involved, and we were so ready to just kind of move past the election. And it kind of feels like because there were a lot of people who were theorizing that they were setting things up for the next time, the last time they accused Biden of stealing the election. So, and I figured they were like, you know what, if the J6 thing doesn't work, maybe we can just like make them have zero faith in the election system. And then the Democrats will be so ready to move on because they think they're going to win that they'll just breeze over everything. I don't know. It just, but I am not one of these. Well, I am sharing it on YouTube, but I'm saying that I don't think that it's a true thing. It's just an interesting thought experiment that I had. But that's the difference between, I think, me and the other guys, the ones who make the shorts, because they're more like, this is true. So anyway, that's my initial conspiracy theory that just made me start coming up with conspiracy theories. But the one that I had about the assassination, I don't know if you can say that. I think you're supposed to like mask that word. I guess maybe once you get a bigger following, maybe. But the attempt on Trump's life, so the kid was like a Discord user, right? And there was a project during the Reagan administration. Okay, no, I think this might have come out of Watergate. I don't think it was Nixon that did this, but I think it was Reagan that did this because of Nixon. But he wanted to make spying more covert. And so they started hiring these people for requiring discovery and physical ballot count. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I hope it goes forward. Because it showed, I don't know, the lawyers on YouTube who I typically watch, who are actual lawyers, they've said that it's going to be hard for them to pursue that because it could just be an anomaly. And it's not, it's like, I think it's like one, she didn't get any votes, but I think it was it's like an explainable thing if you offer other data. I just don't know what anything about that. So that's all I've heard, but I don't know if that's true. I hope it goes through. I hope they're able to investigate it further. Just don't get the cyber ninjas, because they will not help your case. One could have assumed from the name Cyber Ninja. But so anyway, in the 80s, they wanted to make spying more covert. So they started rolling out these task forces that were made up of people who like lived in these areas. I don't remember what the project is called. I can look it up and I'll put it in the comments later on. But it was I don't know, a pretty well known thing. It was like the inspiration for a lot of those like deep state, both I guess modern conspiracy theories, unfortunately, but also like the movies in the 80s. All about how like they're trying to control our minds, they're trying to make us like do things, they're trying to make us buy and consume. They them someone should make a movie called They Them and make it like them, because that would be funny. See, that's the tongue-in-cheek humor that might actually be a thing. But so yeah, so it's basically, I don't know, it's like espionage campaigns that, if you saw that Netflix movie, a miniseries about MK Ultra, I know if this doesn't have anything to do with MK Ultra, but it's the same sort of process. So it's about this guy, this FBI agent who died under mysterious circumstances. They later proved that it wasn't a conspiracy, that it was just embellished. But they made a Netflix miniseries on the fantastical part of it. And so like he took a bunch of drugs, they were like convincing him to like do all these things, and it's like these people who like he looked up to, they were like his superiors, and they basically brainwashed him and threw him out a window. Oh, Christopher Titus, the dude from the show Titus, I think he had his own show where he was, I think, a dad. It was like a sitcom. Anyway, yeah, he was a comedian, I guess, I think. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me that Russia would have been involved in any way. That, yeah. So anyway, sorry, long story short, basically what they do is they know how to convince people to commit crimes so that it doesn't come back to them. And these are non-government contractors, the CIA, who were like doing these campaigns. And so if you believe, and I don't believe this, but it makes more sense if you believe that JFK was killed by the CIA, that it wouldn't be such a huge leap for them to attempt on another president's life. That's just my brain. I know from history that it's a potential. So if that was to be any percentage of true, then it's also not a wide leap to say that perhaps this kid who was on Discord might have been, in forums or chats, Discords that involve the type of themes that would connect to an attempt on a president's life. And perhaps maybe he was expressing distaste with his situation or with the government, and someone who was monitoring these things, looking for keywords or looking for phrases, was like, there we go, that's our guy. And then they start grooming them, and then they start they message them, they present themselves as a friend, a benefactor, whatever, authority figure, and they say, hey, listen, it could be an authority figure, like, hey, listen, I'm from the CIA. It could be like just they straight up gave him a spiel saying, I'm from the CIA. I see these expressions or these things that you've been saying on Discord, like, we're gonna take you down unless you do exactly what we say. And then they have to condition him to do this thing. Or it could have been something completely non-obvious. It could have been just trying to make him a friend, make a friend out of him. And then kind of go on to these topics of hey, do you own a gun? Have you ever considered self-defense or yada yada? And then he goes because I think he used his uncle's gun or dad's gun or something like that. I don't remember the details, but so it's do you have access to a gun? And then then he's being a friend and love bombing and doing all this culty shit. And he's saying do you have, the ability to shoot? He's I play a bunch of video games and stuff. And then he's maybe you should go to the shooting range. Maybe you should go practice, whatever. And then he starts dropping hints about these things that are happening. Maybe perhaps he might let slip the layout. You're essentially giving someone the gun, you're putting the gun in their hands and you're saying, and there you go. and then pissing him off enough, giving him enough like things about the president, because it took a civilian 3.5 minutes to get up there because they saw someone climbing, and like they started climbing, then they heard the shots, and that was around 3.5 minutes. And then it took the Secret Service 8 minutes to figure out that the shots were coming from a place obscured conveniently, the only place in a wide open campus, the only place where the Secret Service snipers were stationed that was obscured by foliage. So, and I also don't think that it's a huge leap to make to have put an inexperienced, naive kid in a place where he would be exposed to counter snipers. So, yeah, because they expected that he would get taken out, you know, like, and he did. So they can't interrogate him. They can't be like, who are you talking to on Discord? And with, if anything, like he could have had like a you know, a ghost messaging system. Like there's Snapchat is the oldest one, I think. Not the oldest one, but the most recent modern one, where it's like temporary messages. They're still saved on a server, but if you don't see any evidence that something was there, you're not even going to be curious unless you know to search for those things. And if the kid isn't being arrested for something like online sex crimes, I don't know if you can say that on YouTube either. If you're not being, unless you're being arrested for like those things where they actually like would want to like search his history and stuff, then they're probably not going to be looking. I mean, probably if it's such a high level crime like that was, then maybe they'll be more curious. So they'll like, you know, run it through something, but they got to know what to look for. You know, I don't think are you going to be saving, you know, are they going to be pulling up metadata from, you know, nudes, or are they going to be pulling up metadata from messages of, you know, brainwashing or whatever, you know? Oh no, I saw the models, and I saw the ballistics model that they did right afterward. You can tell it looked like the way that the kid was shooting, and again, a million different factors could have played into this, but to me, just from my eye, just from what I saw on the model, it looked like the kid was shooting exactly where Trump's head was supposed to be if he had been leaning correctly on the podium. So, I mean, if anything, he could have been given to the millimeter how to dial in his optics. Like, they could have been like, you know, oh, do you know how to hit a bucket whatever meters away? And that could have been what he spent his afternoons doing for a really long time, just shooting at that distance for that, you know, target. It wouldn't, and he's using his own firearm. It wouldn't really matter how accurate he's gonna be. He's still gonna have the muscle memory to hit the place that he needs to hit. I don't know. I think that's one of those things that I don't think we'll ever get really that heavily looked into. I know they did an investigation, so obviously if they didn't conclude that it was any more shady than it was, then... But then again, you know, they're investigating themselves, right? Like, we investigated ourselves and found ourselves innocent. You can rest assured now. And it's not the first time that a government body has done like crazy or fucked up shit on US soil. So just saying, you know, it only makes sense. And I think that's actually something that MAGA people and the left can agree on, is that the government's fucking shady. 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 Doesn't matter who's in power. It's like the wild freaking West with our money. Like, it's just like everyone's just passing this big pile of cash around and nobody's taking much from it. And sometimes people aren't taking anything. Sometimes people are just putting money in, but they're still passing it around. It's like there's vulgar things that I could say that we can connect that with, but I've been watching a lot of long reads from this comic series called Crossed. It is Whew, it almost made me cry when I heard like one of the parts. Oh fuck, it is rough. Garth Ennis really just writes fetish content. I'm pretty sure that he, like, someone just discovered his like fanfic one day and they were like, this is good. This is good. It is, they leave nothing off the table, like nothing. And it's like they're trying to see how bad it can get. Like they're trying to think of like, okay, what's a horrible incident and how do we ramp that up? Okay, nope, that's not brutal enough. Nope, that's not bad enough. Nope, even more. No. You're not even fucking trying. I want to be sick. I want to throw up when I read this goddamn comic. I assume. That's Garth Ennis, by the way. That's probably what he was saying to them. All of the pen and inkers are people who worked with him before. So perhaps they're part of the same club, you know? The torture. What's a better term for pornography? Prawn. Nah, I hate that. That's like from the 90s. What?
My name's Lee, and I actually have a phobia myself.
Oh, that's Lee Mack. I've seen him on Taskmaster. So unfortunately, the algorithm has taken me. It's taken my selections.
Adam
And
Serb
I can- okay, yeah, I can. Okay.
coined the phrase "cruelty is the point," and that is the point. This here is video from the.
Come on, man. He's gonna start singing though. If he gets it accurate, then it's almost like an honorific thing as opposed to an insulting thing. Okay. Okay. Oh man. That's like, I would say that's low-hanging comedic fruit, one could say. Oh no! Nickelback. Thanks for the Nickelback, I appreciate it. Why is it going into like my... It's not doing the thing that I wanted to do.
I'm a Trump guy.
I hate
My
you
favorite
too.
color is red, white, and blue. I'm a Trump guy, and y'all know exactly how Kamala worked her way to the top, and it wasn't her good looks.
Kamala. See, like, look, it's going to memes. I find it genuinely refreshing, but it's not what I wanted. All right, we'll try this again. Trump MAGA God. Trump MAGA God. Does it confuse it if I... Okay, that's not what I wanted. Does it confuse it if I put more than one hashtag into a search bar? That's my wonder. So I think she's talking shit about the MAGA people, but if he said that DEI caused the floods, then it wouldn't surprise me. Although if I put under 4 minutes, that doesn't make any sense, does it? Only the hashtag, I think. Anyway, hi, I'm Goose. We're almost an hour into the day, the stream day. And today's theme Thursdays. And today's theme is theocracy. God damn it, I said it again. Theology. Theism. And the sort of header under that theism overall, or overarching topic, is that my opinion, which I'm allowed to have, goddamn you, is that MAGA people are in a cult. I know that's a simplified way of saying something that is a complicated issue, but I'm willing to substantiate it. So if you'd like, if you just want to toss the idea around, chew on it, like so much gum, Big League Chew. Think about Big League Chew. The flavor leaves almost immediately, but the head cow is always grazing. So if you want to pass the cud, gross, back and forth, then let's talk. I'm willing to debate, but I am not a master debater. Ha ha! Ayo! YouTube might ban me. Nah, not for that. That's a scientific term. But it's not being used scientifically. Whatever. Whatever. Please feel free to call in. Discord link is in the chat on both YouTube and Twitch. Forgot the name of the platform I stream on for a moment. It's not a good endorsement. They will not sponsor me. So. MAGA fat. Oh, sorry. I was trying to figure out what the context was here. I lost the 2020 election. I think it was just talking about the big lie. But we wanted upload date. MAGA turning on Trump. God bless America. That's the I wear red, white, and blue. Usually when it's a guy with sunglasses walking along in the park.
Donald Trump has said, after everything he's done, after his first failed presidency, after numerous
all right, spit out some more talk points, why don't you? Fuck's sake. So I guess this is a good time to bring up the reason why I chose personally to do any kind of debate content whatsoever. I am not a debate bro. I watch a lot of debate content, but it's usually just on in the background. I think that I agree with a lot of what my peers on the left say when they are stating the points that they think are important for people to know. The problem is in the delivery, and I know that a lot of people like center or right or who claim to be left and are actually right, whatever, fakers and charlatans will probably say like, you know, oh, you're it's in the delivery, you're not listening to both sides, you're not trying to connect anyone, and to a certain degree I agree with that, but that's not what my rationale is. My rationale is that, well, first of all, the bottom line to why anyone should ever do anything activist style on the internet, A, is if you're too nervous to do it in real life. I mean, whatever, you know, there's a safety issue, but also there's also a time management issue. I'm usually working at night when people are out protesting, but it doesn't stop me from going to like daytime things. But point is, if you can't do it in real life, then you choose to do it on the internet. What you got to keep in mind is that the debates are not meant to be won or lost. That's not why anybody is here. If you're trying to be here to win a debate, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Even if you're, whether you're left or right or whatever, it doesn't matter. If you're trying to win a debate, if your goal is to destroy somebody or to wreck somebody or to own somebody, I don't think people say really own that much anymore, then you're approaching it already from a losing position. The point is that imagine some little kid in deep MAGA country in, you know, in Middle America, who doesn't have access to a lot of the channels that I watch, or to, you know, whoever, whatever. If they don't have access to those avenues of information, then they won't know what to say when they're being hit by their dad for, you know, expressing that they think they might be gay or something, you know, like it's in the hopes that they'll open YouTube and they'll ask a question that they have and they'll click on something that you've done and maybe find some avenue of help. And even if they can't, at least they might know that perhaps they're not alone. So it's for that reason why, if you choose to do any kind of activist thing on the internet, that you need to keep that in mind. It's not for you, it's not for your win, it's not for your content, it is to help people. And if you lose that, you're gonna be like that guy I debated on a couple of weeks ago, and you'll just be doing it for yourself. Like, it's fine if that's what you want to do, but I think that that's it's a more like commercial. It's like a more I don't know. It seems like the wrong reason to be doing stuff on here anyway. So, with that being said, the reason why I personally am here is I think that I can offer words that are easier for people to understand. Like, I come at things from a if I was trying to explain this in a court of law, or if I was trying to explain this to someone who was trying to learn, like if they didn't know anything about what I was talking about, I try to have that kind of like cadence and speech styles. So, and I can actively listen to, and I think a lot of people don't really have that ability. And it's not to say that that's a shortcoming. Just because you don't have something doesn't mean that you're bad for not having it. It's just not something that some people have ever learned. And I think that it takes a degree of comfort on the camera. I don't give a shit that this thing is here. B, I think it takes a certain level of nonchalantness or stoner, vibe, chillitude, I guess you could say. And the idea that you're doing it for not yourself, I think is important. But that's just my 2 cents on that. That's why, like, I think people who do debates for like the clips and like the talking points, like that that sucks. It reduces, I think, our standing. It erodes our standing. Trump. Hey, someone who agrees with me. Trump MAGA is a cult. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Agreed. Thank you. This is real life? Why is it a Yeti? It's Yetis, but it's in real life? Let's hope this is unhinged.
If you're a Democrat planning to run for Congress, the Senate in 2026, or for president in 2028, you need to be running on abolishing ICE and universal health care.
Nope, just normal takes. Come on, I want MAGA. If you're MAGA and you disagree that you're in a cult, grow some balls and join the call room. Join the waiting room. Join the call. Join the thing. Where are those balls? I thought you're all supposed to be like alpha male chads, right? Like, isn't that what you call yourselves? Sigmas? Right? Come on, Sigmas. MAGA doesn't know what time it is. God damn it. Trump embarrasses. God damn it. MAGA hat burn. No. Where's the pro MAGA? They're hiding it. How we win and keep the joy alive?
Hey there, everybody. It's Magnificent Mike, and I'm back to talk some more about why this is so wonderful to be MAGA.
It tripped up a little bit in the beginning, but that's okay.
It's so wonderful.
We're not all great public speakers,
in the old
or
days,
could do more than one take.
I feel like I was being insulted.
Oh, we start with the persecution complex. A clear overlap between Christianity and the MAGA crowd. Religious ideology much?
By the libtards, because...
Oh, come on, man. The quality of this looks like it was posted pretty recently. Looks like maybe a day ago. How do you... There we go. Can I look and see? Nope. Nope. Okay. Why doesn't it tell you when these were made? I don't want to click on something and accidentally navigate away from here. Screw you! Anyway, hello. Thank you for joining me. MAGA's a cult. I'm happy to debate that. Join the waiting room. If you, I mean, like, if you stumble onto this page and you think that guy's wrong, and you're like, but I don't know how I would ever argue against that, join anyway. Let's work it out together. This would be my second debate, so don't feel like you gotta perform. I don't. I'm doing it, but I don't feel like I have to. This is literally exactly how I am in real life. Which means I could be a bit much, probably. I'm just realizing that.
Because they would say that they were good and I was bad.
So, I feel like, I know I keep pausing it, and so it's gonna feel a little disjointed, but I feel like it felt that way. Let's just test this. I feel like it's gonna feel that way even if we rewind, even if we rewind it.
Magnificent Mike, and I'm back to talk.
So this is the beginning of when he starts saying whatever it is he's gonna say. Just let's see if this feels a little disjointed or a weird rhythm.
More about why this is so wonderful. To be MAGA is so wonderful. I gotta tell you, in the old days, I used to feel like I was being insulted by the libtards because they would say that they were good and I was bad.
Doesn't that feel a little strange? I don't want to assume, because he could just be really stupid, but it looks like he might have had perhaps a neural event, a stroke or something, that might be causing him to talk this way. But also, if you're unaware, I forget if it's strokes or seizures, but there are people sometimes who have one. I think it's just stroke. There are sometimes who come out of those with their personality completely changed. So, I mean, maybe he was completely different before he had his whatever it was. But again, he could just be really ignorant, stupid, whatever. Like, but the cadence and the words that he's using feel stunted in some way. Developmentally lethargic. Not lazy, because I don't believe that any of this is purposeful.
Or that people like me were bad. And it annoyed me. I felt like they were boasting and they were putting me down to feel good about themselves, and I didn't know what to do.
This is exactly like my my uncle who had a massive stroke and eventually recovered to this extent, but it was forever like this, and he was always really mad after that.
About it, and then Trump came along, and he taught me what to do about it, which is to do what they're doing better than they do it. So the way it works for me now, the way I feel good, the way I keep the MAGA joy alive, is that if I hear a word that sounds good, I say I've got the most of it. So loyalty, yeah, I got the most loyalty. Kindness, yeah. Toughness, you name it. If it sounds good, patriotism,
The shirt that he is wearing is kind of getting me hot. I won't lie. But that's not what's happening.
Got the most of it. And if it sounds bad, they've got the...
You don't say daddy's home and expect people to not perk up and sit at proper posture, all right?
The most of it. So
I'm kind of I don't think it is, but I think he might either have, I think that there's you can't make fun of this thing that's like sort of enshrouding him in a bit of social armor. It's either developmental disability, or he had an event at some point that caused him to lose some
kind of a
neural functionality.
I'm mosting, and
what even is that? What is that? Somebody please, what does that mean? What is mosting? Like you're being extra? Like, because I've heard people say that, but what is mosting? Sorry, I know I keep going back.
And Trump came along, and he taught me what to do about it, which is to do what they're doing better than they do it. So
let me deconstruct this. So he's saying that a while ago, before people were, aware of what Trump could do for the country, before that, he was being insulted by people that he's using a term for that he probably never used until Trump was in office the first time, because they think that he's bad and they're good, or they're good and he's bad. And then Trump came along and he told me how to handle that. He said that whatever they say you are, if it's positive, you say that you're the most of it. Like he says, like, oh, I'm the most compassionate, I'm the most charitable, I'm the most religious, I'm the whatever. Like, I'll be a savior. That's way more Jersey than I don't think Trump would be caught dead having that deep of an accent.
The way
but I think that's what he's saying.
For me now, the way I feel good, the way I keep the MAGA joy alive, is that.
But why are you attaching a MAGA to it? Trump didn't teach you that. You had an insecurity, and then you learned how to cope with it. That's all that happened. And again, people base like a lot of, well, it never is. Also, hello, UN TV. Thank you very much for joining. Appreciate you being here. You're right, and that counts as idolatry too. So it fits our theme as well. You're not supposed to worship another god. And the way these people talk about Trump, ooh boy, it's very spicy. I just love the freeness that they feel in calling another man daddy. We need more of that in society. Yes, sir. Yes, daddy.
If I hear a word that sounds good, I say I've got the most of it. So
see,
loyalty, yeah, I got the most loyalty. Kindness, yeah. Toughness, you name it. If it sounds good, a patriotism, I got the most of it. And if it sounds bad, they've got the most of it. So it's a kind of a,
it's a nuh-uh. It's a whatever you say bounces off me and sticks to you kind of defense. And so I saw a clip yesterday of a parent who was saying that on the taking of the life of the Democrat lawmaker recently, he said that they had it coming, and he said that this is just the beginning. And when because his kids, I think the kids are not MAGA and the parents are MAGA, and they have a podcast where they basically argue for like 2.5 hours. And the daughter was like, why would you endorse that? Like, why would you say why is that okay? And then the dad is like, well, because they've ruined the country. And I forget why I was making that point, but it's a stark. Oh, it's because he basically is saying like, sorry, I'm at the end of a train of thought, and I need to go back and tell you where I'm making the connections. So he says that I'm gonna say whatever you are is bad, and whatever bad that you're calling me is what you are, and whatever good you're calling me is what I am, which is an interesting approach. But what this really also means when he says like I'm the most
tough,
when he says that I'm the most loyal, he's only talking about Trump. He's not talking about his own country. And so he would be fine with a Republican killing his daughter if it was Trump, not if it's one of those rhinos in Congress. See what I mean? Like when he says loyalty, he doesn't mean to his country or to his government or to his party. He means to one person, Trump. And then he says, kindness. It's hard to argue that you're a kind person if you're okay with the things that you've been hearing in the news, even if it's fake. Even if it's fake, even if you are convinced that CNN is fake, you can't hear the stuff that's happening on your side of the media, because let me let you in on a secret. Most people who are involved in a lie know they're involved in a lie, and it takes some subconscious trigger or some learned habit, some learned system of behaviors that cause you to cover up that lie or ignore it. Case in point, laws don't seem to matter to most people in an arbitrary fashion. I can decide on a law. Like I can just decide whether I choose to follow or choose not to follow a law. One specific law is speeding, right? It's a traffic infraction, but it is still a law. Almost everybody breaks that law. Dogs on leashes in parks. I would say that quite a few dog owners don't obey that law. It is still a law. You know, health code laws. Those are all laws. And there are people who do not wash their hands for the prerequisite amount of time or use the proper barriers before touching food. All the time. All the time. And we expect that whatever we're doing is superseding the law because we know better. And so it's how did I connect this to kindness? Oh damn, I lost it. See, that train of thought, I wanted to go back to the other car. I got to the dining car, I started drinking, and then I completely forgot to move to the end of the train. So that happens a lot to me. I have full on ADHD. So loyalty, kindness. I was gonna say the end game here is that you can't be really kind if you're voting for Donald Trump. That's, I guess, my overall point. How I got there is by saying that, like, or by thinking that you can't look at his policies. Oh yeah, I was saying that you're looking at Fox and our side. No, yeah, so immigration, the crime of illegally immigrating is a civil crime. It is not a criminal crime. So these people who are saying, like, you come into the country illegally, you need to be immediately kicked out, that is not how that works at all. And it's not how it should work. If you are running for your life from someone, which is the majority, well, the majority are visa overstays. And I would say that a good percentage of people come here because they want to make a better life for them or their family or whatever. But a good percentage of people are running for their lives. So it's hard to, and I think we built the system this way because it's hard to just kind of be like, well, I'm gonna turn you around and there you go. Bye-bye. This is America. And people also make the argument that if you went into another country, if you were in Europe and you went into another country and, you'd get immediately deported. That's not how it works there either. They can hold you, they can process you, you get a trial because it's a civil infraction. And then they might escort you to the border to make sure that you get across safely. But that's if they determine you need to be deported. So...
yeah, I got the most loyalty. Kindness, yeah.
But yeah, so you can't look at the policies, you can't look at anything in the big beautiful bill or whatever, and you can't look at the things that happen in the country, like the floods, the fires, all that stuff, and then look at the Republicans' reactions to it and think, I am on the side of kindness. And again, as I told the dude a couple weeks ago, see, I'm only ever gonna have that one debate to lean on, guys. You gotta get someone in here. If you know a good channel that has idiots on it that want to debate MAGA stuff, then tell them to come here and to debate a complete noob. They're probably gonna win. I just need that stuff to refer to because I can only lean on that last one. What did I tell him? I told him that, yeah, that the what you're voting for is what the guy does. If you're voting for a dude, you're voting for everything that he does. Of course, he turned out to be a racist, and so I would assume that he would vote for a racist. But it's a weird position to take, and I think it's inconsistent, and I think it's because we all kind of just lie to ourselves and we say that we're doing the right thing. But if you just step out of yourself for a moment, you might get some perspective, you know? Yeah, it's very tough when you have, I guess, a delusion, when you have an idea that is so important to you because it might ruin your entire life if you were to let it go. You're gonna bend over backwards to make it true. That's just, what's that, cognitive dissonance? I think. But yeah, so we lie to ourselves, and I wasn't talking about laws. I was talking about us making things okay because we need them to be, and that ties into the whole like Trump is a cult thing, because or MAGA is a cult thing. It's like you can't listen to the people that tell you that there are bugs in your chocolate. You can't listen to the people that tell you that hot dogs are pig anuses. Like, they aren't, but you have to lie to yourself. You have to cover it up in your mind. It's a defense mechanism is what I'm getting at. It's because you feel afraid. And what I told the guy, I'm only ever going to be referencing the one debate I had. I told the guy that you have to step outside your comfort zone. Like I said, like, what's the best environment to learn things? And if you don't know where I'm going, that's fine. You can say, I don't know. I'm never trying to gotcha anyone. I will always be 100% transparent because I'm not a debate bro. So you can rely on that. But I was like, what's the best setting for learning? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, outside your comfort zone. And he didn't understand what I said. So I was like, this is why I'm saying this is because it applies to just learning in general. It's for everything. So learning about why you might be wrong on something, or learning about why trans people exist, or why it's wrong to be racist. Like, you step outside of a comfort zone, meaning you're just stepping outside the environment that you've always known. It means that you're just making yourself vulnerable a little bit. It doesn't mean anything other than that. There is no, and people, vulnerability is not a weakness. It just means a permeable outer shell that you can absorb things into. It means that you have let your guard down so that you are ready to accept new and different information and points of view. That's all vulnerability means. But if you talk to the MAGA crowd, vulnerability is like, nobody's ever vulnerable. How dare you would ever call me vulnerable? You know what I'm saying? Like, just the basic sort of misunderstanding of English. The uneducated crowd. We love the uneducated. Hey, we're very popular with the uneducated. We love the uneducated.
You name it. If it sounds good, a patriotism, I got the most of it.
One could argue that patriotism would be a willingness to reach across the aisle. And MAGA people are not willing to do that. I would feel very comfortable saying that all MAGA people refuse to reach across the aisle. That is a non-starter. That's a prerequisite to being MAGA.
And if it sounds bad, they've got the most of it. So it's a kind of a...
Sure.
It's, you could say I'm mosting. And...
Could anybody tell me what that means? Like, because I still don't know what it means. I'm still confused. What mosting? What are you doing? You stinky. Stinky. Very cute, but very stinky. Cute and stinky. That's a bad couple of things to be, because you want to go and you want to hug the dog, and then she stinks. You know? And then she just like, she'll be playing and it's cute and you're like, oh, I love this dog. This is very cute. It's very playful, very energetic and stuff. And then they fart in your face. It's like, what the hell, man? I'm giving you this attention. I'm giving you this unconditional love, a place to live. And you go and you fart in my face. Oh, and I picked her up the other day and she burped in my face. And it was almost worse than the farts. I don't know what's happening inside of her, but it's the devil. I don't know what's happening, but it is the devil. You devil. The damn devil. Sorry, I want to put this back on, but I am getting my hands are busy. Hang on. I'm building a bangle. Is that a thing? Would you guys say that? I'm building a bangle.
And I do it better.
We'll just let
than
this
the
play while I'm doing
libtards
that.
do. And,
Stop saying that.
They're so insulting. They treat us all like
They're
we're
so
all the
insulting.
same.
What?
No, we're individuals. Individuals sounds good, and so yeah, I'm an individual. We're critical thinkers. They're not. They're sheeple. Sheeple sounds bad, so that's about them. So
what?
It's how I keep the MAGA joy alive.
He's just telling how he
have to worry
projects.
About anything but doing a better job than the libtards do.
Stop.
At saying if it sounds good, it's all about me.
It's just
that
dumb
I have
at this
times
point.
Infinity, and if it sounds bad, they have it times infinity.
So you're just gonna act
And
like a
that's all
toddler
we
then.
need to do. We actually
So you're
don't
just
need
gonna
to worry
ignore
about
everything and just act like a toddler.
anything more than that. We just
All right.
need to. If it's good, it's about me. If it's bad, it's about
Act like a
them.
toddler. If
And
you want to
they
keep the
used to
MAGA
beat me at that
spirit
game.
alive, because
They don't
that's
beat me at that game
what's happening.
anymore. I'm way better at it than they are. And they were just being arrogant and stupid. They weren't even paying attention to what they were saying.
Cynical, I
They
don't know.
just
He
made
has
it sound
PhD on
like
the end of his username.
It was about them. Well, I can do that better than they can. And I'm sure
Wait, no, it's Jeremy Sherman.
that we're making America great.
Oh, no.
Because, why? Because that sounds good. So
It's
of
not
course we're doing
Magnificent
it
Mike.
to infinity. All right. Keep that MAGA joy alive. Just
Oh,
keep
no.
on saying if it's good.
It might be satire. Oh. It might not also not be satire. Oh no, it might be. No, it might not be. I want to try and find like an early one that's not in his MAGA garb. Handy new psych term.
When you think about Trump, he's just like the perfect quintessential expression of this attitude. He can do whatever he wants, and whatever he wants to do is always the most.
I think what he meant to say is he can do whatever he wants to me. I think is what he meant to say. Because he does have the shirt that says Daddy's home.
Most righteous, right thing. So it's by basically folding your imaginary superego into your.
No. This is worse than the sales guy. This guy uses psychology as a weapon. Wow. Oh boy. Well, he's talking about Jungian stuff right now, so it's probably not up to date. He probably just read a book once. Let's hope. Oh man. If he talks about any modern technique, I'm gonna flip my shit. Why does it say Jeremy Sherman though? Oh no, ironic yet serious? Okay, so what? Ah! What? Okay, so he does a slop website? Are these articles that he wrote, or are they just articles? Psychoproctology? Oh my god. I thought that was going to be real, but it said like
What's this
stopping
channel
buttheads.
about? Well, you've heard the
Oh my
scientists
God.
search for a unified theory of everything. Weirdly, their everything excludes everything that matters to any of us.
This is
Your id And
Already
that's why
taxing.
you can lose your mind. Why you don't need to mind yourself anymore, because you are operating on purely virtuous impulses. When you think about Trump, he's just like the perfect, quintessential.
Oh no, he's actually got videos. The soul's origin from chemistry to consciousness. That sounds oxymoronic. Oh, he uses AI thumbnails like I do. Though one wonders why he made a picture of a busty jogger tripping on a banana peel. One wonders what you'd find in his Sora library. How do you train it for that kind of stuff, huh? Huh? What? Wait, what? But with this, he's saying he's not MAGA.
Hey, my fellow Americans, my Trumpy allies in making this country great. I want to make clear the complicated relationship I have with you guys. First of all, I am like you. I am like you. And you're
yeah,
like me.
it's very quiet for me too.
To you. It might be worse than that. And
I can't even turn this up. What the hell?
Even like you. But I fucking hate you. And let me be clear about why.
I can't turn it up.
I fucking hate you because you pretend you're not like me.
I just turned up the
you
OBS.
You can't stand the thought that you are just another human like me.
I'm pretty sure that you can cuss on videos. I think it's the live streams on YouTube that Susan doesn't like. I think if you post, I mean, it could be age restricted, but very few cases have I ever seen. I saw someone use a comic panel that was not okay, and it was from Crossed. And they used a lot of words that you should not be saying on YouTube live streams for damn sure. But I think in regular videos, I'm pretty sure you're able to just cuss up a storm if you want. You old cuss. Probably depending on the size of the channel or like the exposure of the content itself. They may ask you to age restrict it.
You have to preen like you're some kind of.
All right, your videos are too quiet, and it was a very weird take. I really want to know about the soul.
Hey there, I'm back for episode 4 of this series. Irony as the
my
truest
ears.
medicine. I just got back from a week in Vienna. Last minute, I was invited,
you
all
asshole.
expenses paid, to an
If you have the
invitation-only
ability
conference
to set your audio settings after you've recorded the audio, use it.
All sorts of academics, some of them theoretical
He used enough
biologists,
of
some
an
them
exciter
philosophers,
mechanic
some of
to-
them biology
Ouchie.
firsters who then got into philosophy, some the other way around. There were only about 30 of us there.
He used an
Many
exciter,
had
so he knows
high
how to use
academic
audio
standing.
software, or at least he
And
knows how to
there
use
was
a
no
fucking
audience for it.
preamp.
It was a collaboration, an opportunity for us to think about what agency is, what selves are. And
Oh no,
I
this is
found throughout
32
the week
minutes. Oh my god.
some disconnects that were hard for me at first to understand.
How do I?
And then I
can speed
realized
this up,
there's
right?
a
There
difference
we go.
between the things we were attempting to do, and all of this pertains to what I'm trying
There
to
we
do
go.
here in this series. There were people
See, now he
who
actually sounds like an
didn't
he
seem
totally
very
slowed this
interested
shit
in
down.
What I would call the deep etiological explanation for what life is.
Listen to him.
Trying to understand. Hey there, everybody! It's Magnificent.
His voice is way higher pitched than the normal speed. Listen to him. Hang on.
What's this channel about? Well, you've heard that.
You hear how high pitched his voice is, and then this is. I'll put it on regular speed.
what life is starting.
So sometimes when you try to lower the when you try to lower the register so that it sounds like your voice is more full, then it can have a slowing effect on the speech, and it can also pad your runtime. Maybe he assumed that people were just going to watch this in 1.5 speed, and so that's
from a
how
physical
he
grounding,
presents
from
it.
chemistry. What is agency? What are selves? What is
Even
trying?
that doesn't sound
What
like
is
him.
Function, utility, or fittedness. I think of the challenge that has fascinated me for these 30 years as how to explain how you get selves making functional interpretive effort, how they would ever emerge from nothing but physical chemistry. And I would say maybe half of the people there, all of them very careful, thoughtful thinkers, lots of historians of science as well, people who do very careful research on the exploration that scientists have done. They didn't actually
maybe he
seem
thought that
he
was
in this question that I consider
speaking
just
too fast
fundamental. What are
when he
selves and
recorded
how
this.
did they start?
That could
They're
be
more
it.
interested in analyzing what selves do. Given that they exist and we can look at their behavior, we can try to understand how their behavior works and how to more accurately describe what they do and how to figure
2
out
minutes,
what they
30
do.
seconds in, he hasn't even mentioned anything about how the soul goes from being a chemistry to consciousness.
Better, but not actually what they are and how they emerged from what preceded them. I realized I was dealing with two kinds of people. Some are philosophers of science, interested in how we interpret living beings, how scientists work.
Philosophers!
And how they could work better, perhaps. Some of them are closer to just trying to understand what science as a practice really is, and others seem...
So that's a tactic that I can point out, putting things into really broad terms. He's not going to get really specific, but he says, people can just like say something and then believe it. And then you leave that hanging and you let just somebody interpret that however they want. It's a shady tactic.
To have positions
He may not know he's
about what
doing
we
it.
should take into account when we're doing scientific research. That is, some of them are just trying to understand us, trying to understand scientists, and some are talking about how to do science better. I really am a natural philosopher. What do I mean by that? Philosophy in light of nature, or philosophy with no room for supernatural or extranatural capacities. I'm trying to understand what I am, and that is the motivation that got me into this work in the first place. I am engaged in something that deserves more attention or more value than it gets in our society. It looks a lot like a spiritual practice, and it's very spirited, but it has no room for spirit in the original sense of the term. Spirit as metaphorically something non-physical that is breathed into physical matter to make it come alive. So when we talk about spirit, it's a very vague term. I've often commented that the term spirit can be defined any way you want, but it mostly means shut up.
See what he
Snarky
did?
for me to
You
say
see
it
what
that
he
way,
did
but
there?
what I mean by that is that if you
What did he do?
can't think spirited, but it has no room for spirit in the original sense of the term.
The original
Spirit
sense of the
as
term,
metaphor.
the original sense of the term for spirited is what he is now going to say next in this video. So pay attention. Spirit is metaphorically something non-physical. Okay, that means nothing. Go on.
Metaphorically something non-physical that is breathed into physical matter to make it come alive.
Do you see how sleazy that was? How sneaky and underhanded. And he may not even know he's doing it. You just slip that in there. Oh, it's a thing that is breathed into physical matter to make it come alive. Seems a little bit like we're just assuming that there's a creator, right?
Live. So when we talk about spirit,
let's hear him out.
It's a very vague term. I've often commented that the term spirit can be defined any way you want, but it mostly means shut up. A little snarky.
Well, you could just look at Google to look up the Merriam-Webster dictionary term for it if you wanted to. So it's weird that he's copying out because this is a video. It's not a live podcast or anything. It's a video. So you really could have just did this as part of your research and put it in the script instead of just writing a script that you think's gonna say what you want it to say and then just being like, there's no way that we can determine this because it's just not a thing. It's not, there's no way that we can determine it. It's just not there. It's just not there. It's fine. It's fine. Don't need to look that up. Don't do it. Don't look it up. Are you looking it up? Don't look it up. Don't do it. I forbid it. Sorry, I'm just cleaning off this last piece. Ba-da-bum. I feel like it deserves stating again. Thanks again for people who are joining us. Thank you if you're lurking and I don't see you. Thank you for stopping by. The topic today is MAGA is a cult. Feel free to change my mind on that. If you have some convincing argument as to why the people who are the Make America Great Again sort are not in a cult, I'd be happy to hear it. This is not a professional debate person that you're talking to. I'm just a dude talking about stuff. And so yeah, if you want like an easy win, let's debate, let's talk. If you think that MAGA is not a cult and you think that you can convince me, I'm more than happy to hear it. Discord link is in the chats, I believe. And feel free to, if you can't argue this time, then feel free to join the Discord and then argue next time. I am live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11 to 2 Pacific Standard Time. That may change again in the future. That might change soon. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I will add and subtract days as I feel gosh darn necessary, all right? Other than that, thanks again for joining. Today's topic, again, if you're MAGA, you're in a cult. I'm happy to explain my point of view, and I'm happy to tell you right now that all I'm going to do is Google signs that you're in a cult, and I'm going to pull up like 3 or 4 articles, and we're going to go through those criteria, and I'm going to describe how I believe that each one describes MAGA as a cult. I'm giving you my game strategy right now. If you want an easy win, because I don't consider it a win or lose thing. Spoiler alert. But yeah, if you want to debate a completely inexperienced, naive babe in the woods, and please feel free to join the Discord. I'm happy to debate any of the topics that are involved in what one could consider the culture wars. Trans women are women. If you want to talk about women in sports. But my argument to that's really simple. Just have weight classes. Just put everyone together and then separate them by weight class. Done. Easy. And then we would have to evolve socially to not be, seeing each other as objects, but that's pretty much it. Well, I mean, yeah, cynical, that's true. It just fits the criteria. I mean, if you look every set of criteria, they're more or less the same. I mean, some of them are a little bit more tailored to the doctor that's recommending it because they're like, I want you to come see me and pay me money. But typically the factors are pretty universal. And you can I'm fairly certain that you can find most of those examples of those criteria that Trump has actually done or that Trump supporters have done in the news fairly easily. So,
for me to say it that way, but what I mean by that is that if you can't figure something out, you could just call it spiritual and get people to stop asking about it.
Yes. I'm only seeing the first part of this message, but cynical, that's exactly what I want. Even if you're not part of the MAGA crowd, if you're even going to try to construct an argument, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Thank you. I'm going to let this play. I have to use the restroom. I will be right back.
It is a way of saying shut up. And there are lots of ways of saying shut up, and they are popular. I call them noping strategies. Nope, don't go there. So if you ask someone why they believe something, or if you ask them about some inconsistency in their beliefs, they can say, well, it's spiritual. You wouldn't understand unless you were spiritual. In that sense, what I'm really talking about is a kind of term for dualism. Dualism means that there are 2 realms. There's the physical realm, the natural realm, and then there's this other realm. It could be called spiritual, it could be called consciousness. You give a name to something that you can't explain, and then you use that name as an explanation. And it's not exclusively the religious or spiritual who'll do that. My sense is that lots of people do it. It comes really naturally to human beings that we would do that. We'd say, well, it comes from some other source, and then we give a name to that source. It's that added ingredient, the mystery, the secret sauce, whatever. And then we don't have to think about it anymore, so it's a noping strategy. We're good at pointing out that in each other's accounts. And then to claim that because we can point it out in other people's accounts, it proves we don't have it. So just think about the competition between religions or spiritual perspectives. Competition between religions is where this is most obvious.
He's using
psychology.
He's using psychology as a weapon
they're
again.
just like the
I'll
religious,
describe how
except
it's
that they add one more religion to the list of bogus belief systems. Christians don't believe in Thor or Zeus, and an atheist doesn't believe in Thor, Zeus, or God. But why are they able to say that? Well, because the religious are often very disdainful of other people's supernatural claims, as if it proves they don't make any. Since your religion is bogus or unrealistic, mine must be realistic. And I would say the same thing happens in the sciences. It's just one of the problems we have in the sciences. I think that we haven't had formidable enough opponents for a while. So I'm an atheist, but I also am not the kind of atheist who thinks that natural selection solves it all. I love listening to the new atheists. I loved Sam Harris's work before it got too much in the direction that I'm suggesting right now. I really like Christopher Hitchens' work.
Oh my God. Is this frustrating anybody else? He said so much shit. Oh my God. So no, you don't just make up a name for something that you can't explain and then say that's where the soul comes from. It's not. He's saying that there's two realms. What? You can't just start from a presupposition. Don't like the. It doesn't make any sense. I guess maybe that's what I'm frustrated with, is that it just doesn't make sense. You're not putting 2 and 2 together. You're putting 1 with 1.35, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pi, and then saying, see how I did that? Mm-hmm. And if I say, no, I don't see how you got there, they'd be like, well, maybe you weren't paying attention close enough. Magic! Pie is better than cake. What? I mean, didn't we talk about this before? They're not related. You can't compare the two. It's like apples and oranges. It has authoritarian tendencies and intensely terrifying loyalty to Trump, but it mostly is a populist political movement rooted in culture, war, perceived grievances, not necessarily the high control belief system with isolated but fully indoctrinated members like we see with true cults. In general, but and saying that it is a cult adherent to the purest definition of the word cult would be hyperbolic. Nor is it sensational to say that it shares markers, all the markers that cults share. And I think it takes a little bit of creativity, but not much. And I think it's natural to try to compare things. Like, MAGA is not a cult because it doesn't look like other cults. None of the cults look like other cults. Like, that's it's you want to try and put it into like a different category, but you still have to, like, if we just go back to the criteria for you're in a cult, it's gonna stay the same. And it's like ChatGPT, you know, like it remembers things up to like 8 messages or something like that. I think GPT is a lot more sophisticated than like a local AI or something like that, but it only remembers a certain block of immediate memory, and then it's like, well, wait, what were we talking about? What's going on? What? And it just drops all of its previous beliefs and notions. So no, we don't just give names to things. That's not how science works.
Religions or spiritual perspectives. Competition between religions is where this is most obvious. You've heard it many times, I'm sure. The atheists argue that they're just like the religious, except that they add one more religion to the list of bogus belief systems. Christian.
Who says that? I'm trying to figure out who says that, but I don't know the context, I guess.
Not the kind of atheist who thinks that natural selection solves it all.
Then you're not an atheist. Or, well, okay, then you're not an evolutionist.
I love listening to new atheists. I love Sam Harris's work before.
But when you
got too much in
when
the
you talk
that
about
I'm
there being
right
a
now,
creator,
I really liked Christopher Hitchens' work. But the problem, the vocational hazard for people who are slamming religion, is that it's too easy a target.
Oh, okay. So, all right. Oh, well, I just let it go then. Just let it go. That's cool. Sure. Absolutely. If you want to legislate people out of existence, go right ahead, because it adheres to your religious beliefs. Freedom of religion, right? If you want to, I don't know, kill people because it adheres to your Christian beliefs, you know, like you're on maybe like a crusade or something, you know, then sure, do it. Go ahead. And making fun of you or trying to call out the contradictions from the one text that you guys follow would be too easy. So let's just let it go. Slavery, just let it go.
We should have formidable opponents, because if we don't have to think through our own perspectives more, because we can just slam other perspectives. It's what I call defaulty logic. Since they're wrong, I must be right by default. I see that even in the science.
That's what he's saying. That's what
Someone
you're
can
saying.
discredit another theory for having unexplained explanations and think therefore
That's
that
what
their
he's saying.
explanation doesn't have that problem. I'm at this conference listening to different perspectives and a lot of nuanced, fine-tuned analysis of, for example, normativity. Normativity is better for or worse for.
I like that he said fine-tuned. That's a really good dog whistle. I don't think he meant it to be, but it was clearly in his memory banks.
An organism. Philosophers of science were trying to work out the details
Philosophers.
of how you would know whether something was good or bad for an organism. In the meantime, I'm sitting there thinking, don't you want to figure out how normativity emerges in the first place? Wouldn't that be the best way to get to know what normativity is?
You'd have to define that non-word first.
Or how to even think about normativity. What do I mean by normativity? It just means better or
Oh, there you
worse
go. Yeah, maybe
in
say that first.
The inorganic world. If you're talking about non-living things, there's nothing that's good or bad. It just happens. A chemical reaction by itself, if there's no living being around, no beneficiary, a chemical system is not good or bad. There's no normativity.
What?
In religion, and to some extent in spirituality, there's an assumption that good and bad are there at the origins of the universe.
Okay.
And I'm saying, well, that doesn't seem right. That's not how we think in general in chemistry.
What?
In chemistry, nothing is good, nothing is bad until there's a beneficiary. Who's that beneficiary? Will be the first organism. When I talk about selves making functional interpretive effort, those are all four terms that define each other. What is a self? It's a
that I'm sure he thought that sounded smart.
Beneficiary of function, of goodness or badness. Something is either useful or not useful, productive or counterproductive for an
Yeah, no, he's just using words that he doesn't know the meaning of.
Organism that is making effort, that is trying to do something. Functional interpretive effort. Those terms all define each other.
Functional interpretive effort? I don't think that's a term. No, I see his, is that his name? Simon Whitaker? No, probably not. I was gonna say, I see his, article, but I don't think that's a term.
Let me step back, because I probably missed this beat. I said a little while ago that the reason I'm interested in these questions is that I came into this work trying to figure out what the actual fuck I am.
He's supposed to be talking about the soul. He's supposed to be talking about the soul's origin. He hasn't said anything about the soul's origin yet.
I thought I'd have a better chance at living in ways that worked if I knew what I actually was, if I wasn't operating on fantasies. Now, I think what I just said is debatable, but I do think
What?
that one of the best uses one could make of one's life, if one was safe and free enough to do so, is the detective work of figuring out what the actual fuck you are.
What?
Isn't that the most interesting riddle around? Because of my lucky circumstances, it became my practice, is trying to figure out what the actual fuck I am, despite my appetite for, let's say, more flattering self-description, despite my human capacity to weave all sorts of narratives. I thought,
he's still saying nothing. He still said nothing this entire time. Like, this is, oh my god, is there a transcript? Oh, I don't want to read the timestamps. Where is it? No, I want to get into the nitty gritty. Come on. See, like even in the goddamn transcript. Okay. I really am a natural philosopher. What do I mean by that? Philosophy in light of nature, philosophy with no room for supernatural external capacities. I'm trying to understand what I am, and that is the motivation that got me into the work in the first place. He just repeated himself in this one. I am engaged in something that deserves more attention or more value than it gets in our society. It looks like a spiritual practice and it's very spirited, but it has no room for spirit in the original sense of the term. Spirit is metaphorically something non-physical that is breathed into physical matter to make it come alive. So when we talk about spirit, it's a very vague term. It just said he just went around once. Then he said we got to define what spirit is, but then it said now a spirit is this, but we got to define what it is. Spirit's a very vague term. I've often commented the term spirit can be defined in a way you want, but mostly means shut up. Little snarky for me to say it that way, but what I mean by that is if you can't. I feel like he got like a chat GPT script, and then he like was like, this looks a little too written by AI, so he was like and it's like, and what it sounds like is his AI is like a bullshit one, like an older one, or like a local one that spits out recursive shit all the time. Like it's always like speaking in tongues and whatnot, and people think it's like religious. That's my guess. Yes, I've seen the OpenAI forums. That's right. I know about all that crazy stuff people see. But that's the vibe that I'm getting from that. Like he's like, I don't want it to sound like you wrote it. I'd like make it, and then he like went through that and went through that, went through it, and then he added stuff like kind of on his own. But this is not.
What about
these aren't educated words?
What I am.
This is somebody with a
narratives generally borrow dualistically. That is, you imagine fairy dust. You imagine, as a scientist do, a separate substance called information that isn't physical, but somehow gets embedded in the physical. When we talk about DNA as an information-bearing molecule, we're doing dualism.
You're trying to look for something that can't be quantified. Was the thing he just tried to say.
We're actually echoing something.
It's like, have you seen those? There's a lot of these mass-produced Indian news channels that have like snippets of news that just, it makes no sense whatsoever. This is, I feel like this is what's happening right now.
Important, and one of the most important scientists in the Enlightenment.
Empty rhetoric.
So you got this guy Rene Descartes. He came up with a way to finally bind together mathematical equations and physical geometry. He came up with the Cartesian graph system. But he also struggled to figure out what he was and came to the conclusion that he was two things. He was the Enlightenment's big dualist. He was res extensa, which is matter extended in 3 dimensions, the stuff he tracked in his graphs. But he was also res cogitans. He was this thinking thing. That's where he got that thing, I think, therefore I am. He came to the conclusion that because he had this added thinking capacity, that meant
they
that
say
he
that
was
your
two
language
things.
center
Matter,
is the
but he's
first
also
to go, right?
consciousness.
Grammy
And then he got into
Hamilton.
the question of how the two are connected. How
First
does consciousness enter
Thursday.
into matter? And he came up with a ridiculous solution. Even in his own day, it was considered ridiculous, which was that there's some kind of like connection between thinking and matter that happens in the pineal gland because it was central to the brain and there was only one. So he
No. That isn't a very often used misconception. No. The process of thought is a chemical reaction. That's it. That's it. You're saying that, oh, there's chemical reactions that make the body work, but then if you think, that's a thought, and that's separate somehow. Religion. That is not how that works. That is not true. The brain releases chemicals that make you feel things and drive you to do things, and it also even a thought process, like even something that happens that causes a thing to happen inside the brain, causes the chemical reaction, is itself a chemical reaction. The idea of proteins coming together and forming strings is a chemical reaction. Cells dividing is a chemical reaction. All the very, very base, like when they smashed open the protein and they found all the shit inside, and they smashed open the atom and they found all the shit inside, every single process that happened was on some level, all levels, a chemical reaction. So saying that thought is somehow separate from all that is not accurate to anybody's, not even the guy that he's talking about. I've heard that one before. I don't remember the exact story, but no, sir. No. Wrong. Bad boy. Bad boy.
Figured that might be like the antenna where we get our consciousness. When scientists today look back on Descartes, they, for the most part, say he's ridiculous. First of all, pineal gland, that's absurd. But beyond that, we don't want to be dualists. We don't want to pretend there's this extra stuff. We're trying to be strictly physical. And then, if they go on and claim, the way that Sam Harris might, or any of the new atheists do, that DNA...
Obvious. Okay, so he's got something against Sam Harris, quite obviously. He's a theist. He's lying about that. He's trying to work Sam Harris in a reverential way, which is clearly not the case. He's lying about that.
A is an information-bearing molecule. What are they doing? It's exactly the same thing.
No, information is a chemical process.
Imagine this other substance called information.
It's not another.
They imagine it's somehow being born by matter. So DNA is a molecule, but it's a special molecule because it's information bearing. So I'm trying to avoid all of those dualisms. I want to actually figure out what the actual fuck I am. And
no, what you're doing is you're removing criteria from your consideration pool, which it means that you're narrowing your mind, if anything. So you're not trying to figure anything out. You're just trying to find something that aligns with what you believe, which is called confirmation bias.
I have to actually figure out how my selfhood, my capacity to interpret, thereby making information.
He hasn't used the word soul because he's claiming to be an atheist, obviously, but
in the world.
It's really frustrating that he won't do it.
Anything could become information, but it's only information when some being interprets it for their effort. I have to explain all of that within nothing but physical chemistry. So, why would any of this nerdy or esoteric sounding stuff matter to anyone in the general public? I go back
my microphone.
To this acknowledgement.
Sorry, headphones.
You
Whoever
don't
was
have
wearing
to understand what you are to be you. It's perfectly satisfying and in many ways much less complicated to not.
My
know
apartment
what the
itself is held together.
But for those interested in a sport that is also a way of life, then the thing I'm talking about, trying to figure out what the actual fuck you are, is, I think...
What, does he think he's cool by saying that? It just is awkward.
It's not the consolations that you can get.
It's like hearing your dad cuss casually,
or God's protection, or the spirit wanting to bring
like when he doesn't. Like,
but if you want
hello,
to live
you motherfuckers,
fully, there's an advantage to it. Coming back from this conference, I recognize that there are people just trying to understand.
Well, yeah, consciousness is emergent. But religious people don't believe that. Religious people just believe that you're going round and around on the merry-go-round. Well, not unless they believe in reincarnation. I mean, it's not good for any kind of argumentative language, like content. Like if you're trying to make an argument in a video of something, it's not useful to that argument to go that micro with what the impetus to the chemical what the impetus to the effect of the chemical reaction might be, or like why it happens. And B, it's like I don't think you can really get there with our current knowledge. Yeah. Yes, it is getting more and more complex. So maybe there's more to it than simple. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I'm sure it is a lot more complicated, and I'm sure that we can get to a depth that, you know, scientists are currently, but it's not, I don't think it's useful.
How science works.
He's never going to learn that. He's never going to care.
And then there are
he just doesn't believe that the soul or thought.
I was kind of an outlier because I was trying to figure out.
It seems like
what
maybe he's conflating the two. It doesn't
personal
seem like
application
he's.
I don't leave my ego at the door when I do my research. I take it into the lab. I'm trying to apply
considering
what
it
I
part
learn
of that.
about us to me, to my personal life. I'm trying to live consistently.
He's
with
mad
what I
about
find out
something.
what the
Something
actual
happened
fuck
in
I
his
am.
life where
It
he's
makes me
frustrated
spirited,
about whatever the outcome
non-spiritual,
was.
not dualistic.
And
practice.
So he
It's a
made this
real
channel.
living
This is
practice.
maybe his midlife crisis.
That's really what I'm trying to offer in this podcast. And
He's
there's
like
no reason
unsure
anyone
of
should
his
feel
position in
obligated
life.
to take it. I understand why other paths are more reassuring, more comforting. I don't say that pedantically. I don't say that to put that down. I know what it's like as a human being.
No, you just say it's part of a scam, an elaborate scam.
I know
where
that
you
well.
Weaponize psychology to exploit vulnerable people.
Trying to figure out what the actual fuck we are, and I do have explanation.
So this, again, I'm leaning on the one debate I had. Just so you all know, if you stopped by within the last 3 minutes, you would know that it is the 3rd hour of my stream. Welcome. Please file in slowly. Sit down ASAP so people can see over you. But calls are open. I'm open to debating. I can run over if I need to. So don't feel hesitant to call in because you know that it's the last hour. There's a lot of shit we can cover in an hour. There's a lot shit we can cover in an hour, okay? And why say more words when less words do trick? Okay? So call in if you disagree with the fact. Call in if you disagree with the fact that MAGA is in a cult. If you're MAGA, you're probably in a cult. If you worship a golden idol of your president, you're probably in a cult. I can do this all fucking day until somebody calls in. All right? If you try to legislate health care away from your fellow citizens, you're probably in a cult. I gotta be walking around with the... I can't walk around. This is on a heavy stand, but I got more. If you call people on the same side of an aisle, or on the same side of the aisle, rhinos, you're probably in a cult. I mean, I feel like, that's I'm willing to try that. Let me just navigate there. Hold on, I don't want you to see my password. I don't think I have to enter it, but oh, got something stuck in my throat. Ah. I think I did start streaming in the what's it called category? Politics. So let's switch that out. What is just catting? It's weird. It's very weird. Oh, can't I see like how many people are viewing these categories? Just chatting has 603K. And then... oh yeah, politics only has 919 viewers? What? But then again, do people get funneled to channels by category consistently, or is that a less consistent thing? Or would that be like only the first, like would it do it like just after you update your info, or would it do it only at the beginning of your stream? That's another thing that I don't.
You can decide whether they're right or wrong, but I do have an explanation for what I am. It's a damn good and relatively untried,
oh my God.
very rigorous, highly...
I feel like I've had enough of this guy. I wanted to see if he got to the point at some point. Let's just see if he's...
those supernatural add-ons, and produces a minimal, but not just impressionistic, self struggling for its own existence.
Oh my God.
Again, how would it start? Well, it would start very subtly. It would be a slight chance that a chemical system would protect itself against degeneration and repair.
Oh, okay. Well, then I will try to adhere to...
and over time...
whatever's going to be the most productive, I guess.
Also replicating. So you had multiple copies of this, slightly capable of regenerating itself. It could accumulate better ways to prevent...
I think there's a little bit of lack, because I see the message
all the way, where it's very likely, not just that you'll be around tomorrow, but years from now. This is one of the misinterpretations.
He's still.
that
I mean, I've been letting it play, and I can hear.
We assume that staying alive is the default, but it
I
not
can
realistic
hear
to
like
think that way in this
everything
universe.
he's saying.
In fact, death would be much
And
more.
he still is not saying.
It's really peculiar that you've got this
anything.
physical capability of preventing your own decay.
What are
and
you?
So to do the etiological approach, to really try to understand what the actual fuck you and I are, starting within nothing but simple physical chemistry.
Is this made to be enraging? Is that, I think that's the goal of this. I think it's meant to do that. It's been 22 minutes. I obviously have not been watching this for 22 minutes, but this video is 22 minutes in.
Well, it's kind of like
he has not mentioned how the soul forms at all.
Designing a machine out of it. And then
so this is basically what I feel like is this him in a chat LLM, like in a program, and like talking in real time, like asking them, and then he's putting a script together and he's just writing the responses that it gives, and he's not like looking them over at all.
Talk to others at the conference, very esteemed professors,
or something. It feels
who
really
made an
weird
argument that you cannot think about us as
hearing all these
and
words without
where
any
do they
substance.
go from there? Well, they either go dualist or they go reductionist, which is that it's just physical.
Where's the persecution complex coming
They're
from?
not particularly interested in explaining how you'd ever get those functions from the physical chemistry that precedes them. And what I'll be doing in the remains of this series,
he's giving me whiplash.
I'll be explaining.
And then he's wrapping it up.
How the default became increasingly improbable, and I'll be doing it in a way that makes it pertinent to our personal lives, the way that it is for me personally. I take this stuff very personally. The book I started writing that got me going in all this research was called Nothing Personal. I'm not trying to bury the soul.
That's the first time. I think that's the first time he ever said the word soul in this.
Souls. So soul is a term like spirit. It implies dualism, as most people think of it. There's your physical body, and then there's your soul. A reductionist would say there is only physical matter, and therefore there is no soul. So convince yourself you're not a self. And you will hear this argument in popular versions of it, scientific versions of it as well. That is not my goal. My goal.
We could also say, as reasonable human beings, that we don't know. I think that's pretty much what most people say. My God, why are you allowed to say things anywhere?
Hey guys, it's Magnificent Mike, and I'm back today with another tip. This one's really important because
he's so low on the Figure your sound situation out, Mike.
Hey there, everybody. It's Magnificent Mike, and I'm back to talk some more about why we should. Hey, everybody. It's Magnificent Mike, and I'm here to give you the usual pep talk. I know we all need it because we can feel bad about ourselves sometimes, and that's no good. But I want to tell you, don't worry. You're okay.
At apartments.com.
Hey, everybody. It's Magnificent Mike, and I'm back today to talk about how to keep the MAGA joy alive. And here's the thing about the MAGA thing.
Is this a disinformation campaign?
Which I find the best. I don't know anything, not really, and I don't need to. It turns out that all I need to do to win
satire.
An argument with anybody, but with libtards, is to get them talking about what.
Okay. I think his channel is two things. I think that he wants people to go and see his videos, and so he does this like skit stuff as MAGA Mike. I think that's what's happening, but he puts a, I guess, kind of ableist sort of caricature on the caricature. Slaps it with an archetypal sort of it doesn't sound like it's coming from a place of good intentions, or like he's like, I want to make these people sound stupid, so therefore I'm going to act like someone with a mental condition. Which, you know, that doesn't feel good. Let's see what he says to people who are heartbroken.
In her
that
early
Trump
40s,
won.
stuck in a loveless marriage to an abusive, violent, alcoholic guy. I met her just as she was beginning to wrench herself free. She finally did and celebrated with a whole Renaissance makeover.
Starting with an interesting
She started
story.
taking classes. She got braces and flashed them with a broad smile.
What is happening? Hold on. What?
I knew this lovely woman in her early 40s stuck in a loveless marriage to an abusive, violent alcoholic.
Is he going to reveal that it was him? Or is he talking about a girl that he encouraged to leave her husband or something?
Guy. I met her just as she was beginning to wrench herself free. She finally did and celebrated with a whole Renaissance makeover. She started taking classes. She got braces and flashed them with a broad smile, thrilled like she had just taken off tight shoes. Within a...
Oh man. A little bit of infantilizing, a little bit of fetishization. I'm getting a really weird vibe from what he just said.
A few months, though, she was diagnosed with terminal cancer.
What on earth? What on earth is that? What? If you thought that was creepy, turns out she had cancer. So. Oh, I'm sorry. Please proceed to tell me about this child bride that you're saying is 40 years old, who had braces and
I saw her
tight
twice
shoes.
after that. The first time she was in a panic. We talked for a few hours. She said she couldn't stop fretting over whether she had been a good person or a bad one. I get that. Even though I've been a lifelong atheist, when I'm down, I am...
Dude, when you say it like that, nobody's gonna believe you. It's pretty obvious. When you say it like that, of course everybody knows how much of a flaming atheist I am. So when I was talking about how much I hate God the other day, you know, worshiping Satan. Hey, 666.
Imagine Judgment Day. I even coined a term for it, eschatophobia, fear of Judgment Day. The compulsion to live for a summer.
I invented a term. That makes me a doctor.
Last breath thumbs up or thumbs down. Anyway, I said I could only imagine how it must feel, by which I meant I wasn't in her situation. Live for a summary last breath thumbs up or Judgment Day. I even coined a term for it, eschatophobia,
yeah,
fear
okay.
of Judgment Day.
Fear of Judgment Day.
The compulsion to live for a summary last breath thumbs up or thumbs down.
What? Does he think he's a writer? Like, is that was worse than what we heard before. That was verbosity. So I think it was a chatbot, because only chatbots are like that anymore. People aren't like that anymore.
Anyway, I said
Maybe
I
they
could
are.
only imagine how it must feel, by which I meant I wasn't in her situation and therefore couldn't claim to know how it would feel.
The term you're looking for is
Still,
empathy.
I said if my end was
I know,
coming,
maybe new to you.
I hoped I wouldn't get distracted by whether I was a good or bad person. I hoped I'd be able to distract myself with some self-improvement project, because that's all there is, however much time we have. I love this gospel song about it. It makes me cry every time. A saint is just a sinner who fell down but got up. Through her
Donnie
tears, she
McClurkin?
said she wished she'd had a good marriage. I didn't see much prospect
Donnie
with
McClurkin?
that. I meant a different kind of
What are we
improvement
working
project. Of course
Donnie
I did.
McClurkin in? I need to see this. Where you at? Where you at, Donnie McClurkin? Oh no. Is this like a rap? Please tell me it's a rap. Now that was a bit of I'm sorry, hang on. You need to stop, music. You need to stop right now. Okay? There's something more. Use it.
But we couldn't stay there, and God
No, I can't do it. I can't do it. Go look for it on your own. It's going to be a gem. I don't want to get this portion of my video copyright struck. But because I guarantee you, the religious people are the litigious sort. If you're religious, you're litigious. So I think that's going to be religious gospel gold. So go look that up.
And say that. The last time I saw her was at her wedding. The groom was a tall, thin, gentle soul with sad eyes.
He is talking about himself.
It was in his living room. She was too sick to sit up. She died the next day.
Wait. Oh, terminal cancer. I forgot about that part. He just dropped it on us. It's like, well, I didn't even get to know this woman first.
That story is more pat than I like to tell, but it's a true story and apt for how I think about hope in these hard, maybe even terminal times. Trumpism is a cancer of the checks and balances, as all cancers are. His policies aren't the cancer. The cancer is his monarchical demand for total fealty and the Trumpy suckers who've fallen for it like sycophant wannabes in Louis XIV's court. Checks and balances aren't Trump's thing. He demands unchecked power, just like cancer. Again, nothing to do with his politics, which from what I can tell are at best a lifestyle brand. A leftist like Maduro in Venezuela or Stalin in Russia is the same cancer. It's a common cancer. Checks and balances are fragile things, very likely to topple toward unchecked runaway dominance. Anyway. Well, we've got MAGA-noma now, cancer of the body politic. And the question is what to do about it. I read the comments on my videos. People who recognize the cancer are saying things they might have said a decade ago. Very predictable things. Name-calling, finger-pointing analysis from the impotent sidelines. It's capitalism, it's
really
the media,
weird,
all of which is true. A lot of hand-wringing and outrage. A lot of pat recommendations about just weathering what's coming because there's just no talking to Trumpies. Occasionally, though less the same stuff over and over is the best we can do. How to thwart the cancer. Solutions that make me feel like I'm making a difference. I want to make something new to learn, some attempt at self-improvement. Eager because they have a
I would say still questionable on whether or not this is satire. It is still a question because that video has to be a meme. That music video has to be a meme. Delicious, delicious meme. God dang. I got some more like responses to people. Ooh, there you go. That's a good one.
Issue of the big
saying Tom Homan has a good speech. Saying Tom Homan has a good anything is
bill should be nonpartisan.
Interesting.
I don't know what the hell's matter.
Hello?
With everybody up in Congress.
What happened to my earphones?
People are dying every day. ICE is arresting 3 times as many criminals that the Biden administration did. We're taking public safety threats and national security threats off the street every single day. But we got over 600,000 illegal aliens with criminal histories walking the streets of this country.
Whoa, what is
we
happening
got less
to my
than
earbuds?
5,000 deportation officers. This should be a no-brainer. The more resources we get, if we get this bill passed, we got more agents on. I don't know what the hell's the matter with everybody up in Congress. People are dying every day.
Migrants, for sure.
ICE is arresting 3 times as many criminals that the Biden administration did. We're taking public safety.
No. You're just calling them criminals. Calling them criminals doesn't mean anything. Also, under the Biden administration, if we're gonna fling stones here, the Biden administration arrests were up, I think 180% or 150% or something from the Trump administration. So fuck your face, but also fuck your face for saying that all illegal immigrants are criminals. So fuck your face twice, Holman. And then he's like, we're going to come after the judges. We're going to come after the, the lawmakers that are hiding these criminals. A criminal scum. I think he even used the term criminal scum. If I am not mistaken. I may be. These guys all just kind of blend together, They're a very specific shade.
Threats and national security threats off the street every single day. Well, we got over 600,000 illegal aliens with criminal histories walking the streets of this country.
The right loves to say this, and the reason why you've got illegal aliens walking around with criminal records is because you're considering the civil crime of being an illegal immigrant just being a criminal. That's what makes you the criminal. And there are a lot of people on the ground level, a lot of people in the street in Main Street, USA, who love to argue that. So, I mean, that poison has already made it down to the ground level. And it's bullshit. It's like, he knows it's a lie. He knows he's not telling the truth.
We got less than 5,000 deportation officers. This should be a no-brainer. The more resources we get, if we get this bill passed, we got more agents on.
I'm going to say no. There's no way you only have 5,000 deportation officers. There's absolutely no. I mean, maybe specifically titled deportation, like I am an officer of deportation and I'm not like an ICE agent. Maybe. But that's just I feel like that's just a bold-faced lie. Especially once all the J6 people got pardoned and the Oath Keepers were taken off I think it's the Proud Boys were taken off the terrorist list. One of them was either the Oath Keepers or the whatever. Anyway, if you've got militia groups that are supporting you that, I don't know, are somewhat tactical in nature, then maybe like former or current law enforcement, who may have, after 20 years of this kind of behavior, worked their way up through the chain of command into positions of leadership, or perhaps even just militia members who have, been pissed for long enough to have wanted to join an organized outfit. We don't know because they put on masks, and they ain't going to stop anytime soon to say like, hey, look at me, take pictures of me and stuff. So that's another conspiracy theory that you don't really need to make a big leap to come up with.
On the road. We buy more beds. We get more transportation flights. More agents mean more bad guys arrested, taken off the streets of this country every single day. Every day we arrest a public safety threat or national security threat.
He's saying
this makes this country much safer.
He's saying bad guys. When he really means like families who are running for their lives. Like, and people who yesterday were just like washing dishes in a restaurant who were like, hey, life's pretty good. I'm sending money back home. I'm on the pathway to citizenship. All I've ever done, I've got like a DUI maybe once, but I'm paying into the system. I just don't have my papers yet, but you know what? I don't think that's going to be a problem anytime soon. And then fucking ICE busts down the door and says like, "Did your fucking gun on the ground? You dangerous fucking scumbag!" It's like, holy shit, okay. What is this for? You know that DUI you got 10 years ago? We are going back to fucking Mexico. You piece of shit. And scene. This was inspired by a true story. All right, give me one moment. To that I say cheers. Whew. So much pain. Ugh. The buds I have right now are like purple. Ugh. And they stick in everything. Like I'm gonna have to bathe my grinder in alcohol.
Who the hell would be against that? And I get irritated. I get pissed off because I'm sick of meeting angel moms and dads. You want to talk about family separation? They bury their children. So this, I've done this since 1984. I've worked for 6 different presidents. No.
How many ICE agents have died since Trump took office? Let's see. No. I need to know how many I need to know how many ICE agents have died. No. ICE agent deaths. Oh, this was last updated in 2019. Is there one? Let's we're up to 2019 here. Number of agents. Oh, per 100,000. Oh, wait, but you said people were dying. You said you didn't want to meet with agents' moms and dads. Hold on. Maybe I misheard.
Bury their children.
Let's see.
I've done this since every day we arrest a public safety threat or national security threat. This makes this country much safer. Who the hell would be against that? And I get irritated. I get pissed off because I'm sick of meeting angel moms and dads.
I mean, 2019 was a long time ago, but I don't think this has been updated. I don't think that's because I don't think that's a factor right now. Just gonna say that, you know. Okay, how many died? Let's see. 100 days in. You would think that deaths would be a matter of you know, something like they want to say like we remember our fallen you know, comrades, coworkers, whatever they were. I'm seeing that people are dying in custody. Is that what he's talking about? I'm tired of meeting immigrants' families. Is that what he's saying? Immigrants' moms and dads? Seems inconsistent. Do you think perhaps he might be lying? I think it's possible. Just saying. We're at 132, and I think what I might end up doing is just ending the stream early, because we ain't got no calls, and I don't want to just jump into a game and only play for like half an hour. Plus, I was on time today, so I actually feel like, you know, this is pretty sad, but we started on time today, and we've run for pretty much the length of my stream recordings. So that means that I'm usually pretty late. So whatever. I'm punctual when it matters, and I'm only a half an hour late to this, so it matters a lot, just not all the way. I guess? I don't know what that means. You know, I think I'm just trying to quantify my own behavior. And gosh darn it, who asked me? That being said, I guess we can just finish out the Tom Homan thing. He's just spewing
You want to talk about family separation? They buried their children.
No, they didn't.
So I've done this since 1984. I've worked for 6 different presidents.
Not in this position.
No one has had the success of the Trump administration. We got the most secure border in the history of this nation today.
No. There's more than enough evidence to suggest that the border was more strict under Biden.
Border walls save lives. Women and children can't get over that wall, which
Border
means
walls
they go
save
to a place
lives?
where there's not a wall. And what's waiting on them? The men and women of the Border Patrol who take care of this humanitarian needs and save their lives. We already got fentanyl seizures down half. Fentanyl seizures should be 100%. We should have zero fentanyl coming to this country. We need money to help secure that border at a higher level. Stop the fentanyl from coming in. Stop the sex trafficking of women and children. Stop the known inspector.
All of that happens through proper ports of entry or flights.
The terrorists coming across that border. Right now, I was looking at the stat.
That's just a made up. That's not actually a thing. Terrorists coming across the border.
Today, ICE is arresting a record number of known suspected terrorists in this country, along with the FBI. With more money, we can arrest more of these people, make this country safer. This is a nonpartisan issue. Let's make this.
Well, if it was an issue, it would be nonpartisan, that's
this country safe.
If you're saying that, you're acknowledging that
so
it
the
is.
Democrats and the Republicans and the Independents, I don't care who you're from, pass the bill so we make this country safe, so we can stop the violence against ICE officers. Let's make this country safe again. Without that bill, it's going to be a hard road. We got a lot of people to look for, a lot of people to arrest, a lot of national security threats we know are in this country. We need to find them. We need more money to do that. We need more agents to do that. For God's sake, let's pass this bill and get this done.
Oh man, yeah, look at Holman just fleecing a whole room of people. Just brainwashing the fuck out of these guys. Look at that guy. Look at this guy. He's devoted. Look at that. He'd kiss him on the rump. On the rump. Oh, he even took a look. Get it, girl. Oh, damn. This zaddy is staring. Staring so hard, he's boring holes into that guy's oversized fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger shoulder pad jacket. Well, I'm feeling sassy. That's why I need to debate somebody, you know? I gotta get that energy out.
He got so angry he didn't even shake my hand or look at me.
Oh, and he's just fucking like so petty and disgusting. He didn't even shake my hand. Go fuck yourself, you fucking impotent fuck. Sorry. Stream is over. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was a bunch of wow. People support that stuff. MAGA really is a cult. I think we've established that today. Thank you so much for joining. And have a great weekend. Man, I got a lot of shit happening over the next couple of days. It's gonna be fun. Yes, sir. All right, well. Next stream day is Tuesday. And if I can get the second camera set up, it will be Tuesday. And I'll do some stick and pokes. Oh, was there actually a breeze? Holy mother of Murgatroyd, I believe I just felt a breeze. Damn, okay, well, hopefully I can take a walk. That'd be cool. It's already in the late 70s, I believe. Oh no, it's gonna be a high of 77 today, so. Right? Yeah. This is Extreme Heat Watch? Oh, on Tuesday. Okay. Yeah, I might take a walk. Sweet. All right, well. Cynical, if you're still there, thank you for sticking around. I appreciate it. And I think Thursdays are just, in general, slow. I think perhaps... this is just the best block for me, you know? Best block of time. I want to try and do something late, but like, you know, my wife she's here, she goes to bed early, but she's like, here, just watch TV and stuff like that. I could blur the background, or I could do like a fake background or a green screen or whatever, which is fine. She wouldn't mind that, even if it like caught her in the shot sometimes. But like, I want to be respectful and stuff. I want to be shouting at people if I'm within earshot, you know, someone who clearly, her TV is right here. So like, because I wanted to be able. This is like basically my third monitor. It just happens to be like a big screen. But yeah, I don't know. Again, you know, I think the extra theme to Theme Thursday has been that we're really just trying to get into a good rhythm and figure things out logistically in a housekeeping sense. It's not necessarily that I think it'll really like help me grow or anything, but what I do hope is that it'll provide a more welcoming atmosphere. Like if I get a theme going for Discord, or if I get like channels, you know, like more organized, or if I have more consistent schedules. I know that I've been at 3 days a week for a while now, and they've been the same for a bit, but if I had like, you know, concrete things to put on like my Twitch or Linktree or whatever, I don't know, something that's easy to expect, predictable, sustainable, then I think it would be more welcoming and more I'm trying to hospitable of an environment. All right, well, thanks again. I've been Goose, and I just whistled when I said that S. You're welcome.